Okay, simplifying algebraic expressions. So there's different parts of an algebraic expression, and this is what it looks like down here. There are terms. So a term is a number, a variable, or a product of number and variables, and they're separated by addition or subtraction signs. So I can see here are 4 terms. These 4 are your terms. A coefficient is the numerical part of a term that also contains a variable. So 6 is the coefficient for A, -1 is the coefficient for B, +2 is this coefficient for this A, and then that's not a coefficient because it does not have a variable. A constant is a term without a variable, so 7 is the constant. Like terms are terms that contain the same variables. So what we're going to do here is we're going to list out terms, like terms, coefficients, and constants for each. So if I were to list my terms, they're separated by addition and subtraction signs. I have 2, I have 6a, and I have 4a. For like terms, I just want you to circle or box in the like terms. So I have +6a, +4a. Those are my like terms. My coefficients, 2 is not, it doesn't have a variable. +6 is, +4 is. And then constants, 2 is the only number that doesn't have a variable, so 2 is a constant. Okay, and then again here, terms, I have m, 4m, 2m, and 5. My like terms are m, +4m, +2m. My coefficients are 1 here, for this is a 1m, a 4, and a 2. 5 is not. 5 is a constant. And then again, terms, I have 3c, I have 4d. I'm going to include the sign on these. I have -c and I have +2. Coefficients are 3, 4, -1. Constants are just 2. And then like terms, 3c and -1c. So be like terms, they have to have the same variables. They could just be numbers like 5 and 7 are like terms. They could have variables like 3x and 9x, and those would be like terms, but they have to match. So I'm just going to go through the rest of these. I'm just going to circle the like terms or box them in. Terms that have g's, those are like terms. And I'm going to box these in to show they're different. The ones with h's are like terms. W, U, and a constant, none of those are like terms. Terms that have s's go together, they're like terms, and the terms that have r's are like terms. So we can see they're different. This term has an r, and so does this one. This term has an x, and so does that one. And this term has an a, and so does that one. Okay, so now we're going to simplify some algebraic expressions by combining some like terms. So when you see the words simplify, it really just means combine your like terms together. So your 6x and your -x will be combined, and then just your numbers like your -5 and +7 would be combined. So we look here at this first one, we have a 6x and a -x, and -x is the same as -1x. So if we combine those like terms or add or subtract those numbers, we know that 6 minus 1 is 5, so 6x minus 1x is 5x. And then I would cross those like terms off because they've already been used. And then I have -5 and +7. Those are both just regular numbers, so we can add or subtract those together. So -5 plus 7 is +2. And then I can't go any further, so that's my final answer. Okay, here I can't start combining like terms yet because I have a set of parentheses and a number in front of those parentheses that I need to distribute. Now 5t is not touching any parentheses at all. So I'm going to just bring down my 5t. The negative 7 is touching my parentheses. That's the number that I distribute to both terms inside. So negative 7 times s is negative 7s. Negative 7 times negative 4t, I multiply the numbers. So negative 7 times negative 4 is positive 28. And then I have a t. And then I still need to simplify and combine any like terms. So I have a 5t and I have a positive 28t. Those will combine and give me 33t. And I can cross those off because I used both of those. And the only thing left is negative 7s. Those are not like terms because they're two different variables, so there's nothing else I can do there. Okay, here. 9m and 3m, those are both like terms. I can add them together. So 9 plus 3 gives me 12, so I have 12m. 5x minus x is the same as 5x minus 1x, and 5 minus 1 is 4, so my answer is 4x. All of these terms have a y, so they're like terms. 8y plus 2y plus 3y. It's going to give me 13y. Now number 4, I have an m and a negative 3m, and then that 4 is all on its own. So that 4 doesn't have any other like terms or any other constants. So I'm going to bring down that 4, and then positive 1m minus 3m is negative 2m. Here, 13a, 7a, 2a, those are all a's. So these are all three like terms. 13 plus 7 plus 2 is 22, so I say 22a. 3y and 4y are like terms, so 3y plus 4y is 7y. And then 1 and 5 are just both constants. I can add those together. 1 plus 5 is 6. 8d and negative d are like terms. Negative 4 and 5 are constants. So 8d minus 1d gives me 7d. And negative 4 plus 5 gives me positive 1. Next I have s's. And I have constants. So negative 4s plus 2s. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2, so that's a negative 2s. 10 minus 3 is positive 7. Okay, here. I'm just grouping what goes together. Negative 15e and negative 5e. So negative 15 minus 5 gives me negative 20. So that's negative 20e. And then my constant, 7 minus 9 is negative 2. Here I have parentheses, so I have to distribute before I can try to combine like terms. So negative 8 times r is negative 8r, and negative 8 times 6 is negative 48. Bring down the minus r and the plus 1. Negative 8r minus r, or negative 8 minus 1, is going to give me negative 9r. Negative 48 plus 1 gives me negative 47. Here I have parentheses, so I'm going to again have to distribute before I do anything else. So bring down the negative 12c, bring down the positive 3. Only the negative 9 is being multiplied. So negative 9 times 11, negative 9 times negative c. So I have negative 99 plus 9c. And then combine like terms. Negative 12 plus 9 is negative 3, so that's negative 3c. And 3 minus 99, those combine to give me negative 96. And then we have some that have decimals or some that have fractions in them. So I have 4.3x and 0.2x. If I add those two together, I get 4.5x. And then my constants, negative 8.1 minus 17.5 gives me negative 25.6. Okay. Then negative 7.6 minus 6.5 gives me negative 14.1. And negative 9y plus 4.7y gives me negative 4.3y. The negative 0.3g plus 6.1g gives me 5.8g. And negative 4.2 minus 0.9 gives me negative 5.1. Okay, now I need to distribute a fraction. So 1/5 times p is just 1/5 p. In case you've got how to multiply fractions and numbers together, parentheses 1 divided by 5 is 1/5 times negative 10 gives me negative 2. So I don't need to change anything into a fraction from a decimal because it's already just an integer. So there I'm going to write down negative 2 plus 13p minus 7. And then when I combine like terms, I have a fraction and an integer to add together. So what I'm going to type in is 1 divided by 5 for 1/5 plus 13. I'm going to hit math and choose fraction, and I get 66 over 5. So those both combine to give me positive 66/5 p. And then I have negative 2 minus 7, which is negative 9. I'm going to go from there. I'm distributing again. 5/6 times a is 5/6 a. 5 over 6 times positive 12 is 10, so I write plus 10. I bring down negative 5a and I bring down positive 11, and then combine like terms. So I have 5/6a minus 5a. So 5 over 6 minus 5. I hit math and choose fraction, and I get negative 25 over 6. That's negative 25 over 6a, and then I have 10 plus 11, which is 21, so I'll put plus 21. Okay, next, I have a negative 6h and a negative 5 that are not part of this distributing here, not touching parentheses at all. I have 2/3 times 24, and I get 16, so 16h, and then I have 2/3 times negative 12, and I get negative 8. And from here we can combine like terms. We have negative 6h and positive 16h, which add to give us positive 10h. And we have negative 5 minus 8, which gives us negative 13. Okay, continuing on. 7h is not touching my parentheses, but negative 8 is. So negative 8 times 2g is negative 16g. Negative 8 times negative 3h is positive 24h. Now I have two terms that have h's, they're like terms. So 7 plus 24 gives me 31h, and then negative 16g is all on its own, so it comes out here to the side. And these are not like terms, so I cannot combine them. Bring down the negative 6n. 3 times 4p is positive 12p. 3 times 2n is positive 6n. My n's combine. So negative 6n plus 6, that's 0. So if it's 0, I don't even write 0n. I just don't write anything at all. And I bring down the positive 12p, and that's my final answer. Okay, 5 is multiplied by negative 2f and by e. So 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. It's negative 10f. 5 times e is positive 5e. And I'm going to bring down this negative 12f. So negative 10f and negative 12f are like terms. If I add those two together or put negative 10 minus 12, I get negative 22f, and then I bring down positive 5e at the end.